Your station in life does not define you and the promise of America that is for all of us.
Things got better, we improved, and Starbucks would not be here today if the situation in New Orleans did not turn the company around. And it wasn't my speech. It was people believing in each other and believing in the company.
Do I have what it takes to lead the company, to lead these people? And my answer to you is, yes, you do. But you have to believe it.
From Xerox to Starbucks, Howard Schultz and his 10 rules of greatness. Check him out.
I feel so strongly that the reason I'm here is I dreamed big dreams. I dreamed the kind of dreams that other people said would not be possible. I'm also living proof. This isn't a Hollywood movie. I come literally from the other side of the tracks. If you saw where I grew up and we took a picture of it, the neighborhood, the setting, you'd say it's impossible that someone could come from there and get here. But it is possible. And not to sound too trite, it's possible because we still live in a country where the entrepreneurial spirit is so alive and so well. And anyone in this country, if you dream big and surround yourself with great people and leave your ego at the door and share success with others and have a little luck along the way, you can do anything.
There was a time that I thought we'd have thousands of stores around the world and we would be this $25 billion company. I never imagined that this would happen the way it has. And we've been extremely lucky and fortunate, but the truth is, and I don't think I'm giving enough time to this, the essence of Starbucks' success in ways I can't even describe is linked to the culture and values of the company. The most significant competitive advantage that we've had for 40 years is the relationship we have with our people and the relationship they've built with the company. And what I'm most proud of, whether it's the healthcare benefit or equity in the form of stock options, of all the things that we try and do, it's the fact that the conscience of the company is weaved into everything we've tried to do.
Growing up in Brooklyn in the projects in the early 60s, what I would loosely describe as the other side of the tracks, provides a deep sense of understanding that there's a world out there that's very, very different than the world that is inside where we grew up. And I wanted to be part of that world. When I finished school, I got hired by a great company, and that was Xerox. And I worked there for a number of years, but I just didn't feel I belonged in a very structured environment. So I left Xerox and I went to work for a large Swedish company that was starting a U.S. consumer division. In a very roundabout way, they had a customer in Seattle, Washington called Starbucks. Their aspiration at the time was to expand to Portland, Oregon. I somewhat persuaded them that perhaps Starbucks' opportunity was bigger and they needed someone like me. You have to understand, Starbucks had 3 stores in '82, but the core business was just selling pounds of ground and roasted coffee for home use. A year after I joined the company, I went to Italy for the first time. First of all, you can't walk through any major city or town in Italy without running into a coffee bar and seeing the sense of community and the romance and theater around espresso. It just made me realize that Starbucks perhaps was not in the right part of the coffee business, that the real business and the opportunity was the integration of the beverage to creating a destination and a sense of community in the store. What I experienced in Italy was something that was transferable in the U.S. Bring, for the first time, great coffee, introduce new beverages that no one ever heard of. No one heard of a cafe latte before.
But having the curiosity, the courage, and the executional prowess to take the road less traveled. And it was another example of tremendously building excitement and pride inside the company when for years we were not innovating at all. And so, I go back to saying that you must have a pipeline of real innovation. You must challenge the status quo. And I would also say that innovation is not only consumer-facing initiatives. Innovation is the things that you can do internally that create value, excitement, and obviously attachment with your people.
It gets really hard when you've got headwinds, disappointments, and people are telling you you're going the wrong way. Ask yourself, do I have what it takes to lead the company, to lead these people? And my answer to you is, yes, you do. But you have to believe it.
Most things that have gotten big have not stayed small. So our challenge is, how do you get big and stay small? How do you stay special? How do you maintain your premium position and pricing? And the answer is, we created segmentation. So we've opened lots of stores all over the world, but none of them look the same. And different locations require a different format. A drive-through format, a roastery which will open in Milan, a small store that's based on speed and transactions in the morning, but all of it threaded into a premium experience. But we have found over the years that the opportunity for growth for Starbucks is greater than we originally thought, and we have not cannibalized existing stores. And I think sometimes, not all the times, if you're going to be big, not literally, but if you're going to be big, sometimes it's better to be bigger if, in fact, you can maintain the culture and values of the company. So let's go back to my comments. Everything we do, every question that's being asked, everything we've done around the world is on the foundation of the culture and values of the company. That is the equity of the brand. That's the secret sauce, everything we stand for. And the reason we've been able to do these things, as well as universal acceptance all over the world, is because the culture of the company comes through to the customer.
I think that success in business is a very difficult thing to achieve. And it's more difficult today probably than any other time, despite the vast number of opportunities. And as it relates to finding your calling in terms of what the opportunity or the entrepreneurial adventure is going to be, it has to be linked to something that you are so passionate and crazed about that you're willing to knock down walls and climb mountains and do the things that are going to put yourself in a position of sacrificing so many other things for its success. And you can only do that when there's a compelling underlying feeling that you have that this is something I'm going to fight to the death for. And without that, I think it's going to be a commodity-based experience, not only for the customer, but for you. And I think you can't really succeed at the levels that you want to unless you find that thing that you're so passionate, excited, and in love with. And I think because you've got to, along the way, you're going to have to convince so many other people to believe in you and the idea and the opportunity, and the struggle and the obstacles that are going to come can only be overcome by this passion that you have, in which you're going to be able to get people to follow you over those hurdles. I know it sounds a little bit sophomoric, but it's so true.
They said, Howard, Ubuntu means I am because of you. I am because of you. As I have the honor to speak with you today, I ask you to keep that story in mind, because everything I'm going to share with you today is through the lens of Ubuntu. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in public housing, the projects as it was called back then. My parents were both high school dropouts, and they could barely afford $96 a month rent in our two-bedroom apartment for my brother, my sister, and my parents. However, from my earliest of memories, my mother instilled in me her belief in the American dream and the promise of America, that a good education and hard work will open the doors to a better life. And that provides me with an important lesson to share with you all today, that your station in life does not define you and the promise of America that is for all of us.
I told the truth. I said, we're 7 months away from insolvency. And if we continue on this track, you and your families are going to be out of a job and your families are going to be hurting. This is what we need to do individually and collectively. And it wasn't the speech that turned things around. What turned things around is everyone facing in the same direction, everyone having the same level of information, and everyone understanding their personal responsibility to the mission and what we had to accomplish. And we rolled out of New Orleans like a tidal wave, and things got better, we improved, and Starbucks would not be here today if the situation in New Orleans did not turn the company around. And it wasn't my speech. It was people believing in each other and believing in the company. I've been criticized over the years for strongly believing that building shareholder value and making money is a pretty shallow goal if it's not linked to creating value for your people and giving back to the community. Starbucks' greatest strength over our 40-year history has been the relationship we have with our people. In the book, I talk about the fact that if you strongly believe in your core purpose when things were going right, then you certainly have to believe in it and depend on it when things perhaps are most challenging. I didn't want to transform the company and succeed financially and then wake up one day and realize somewhere along the line we lost the values, the guiding principles of the company. And so what I'm most proud of is the fact that we've returned it to record revenue and profitability. At the same time, we've preserved without question the culture and values of the company.
Successful people leave clues. We stand on the shoulders of giants. What does this all mean? Well, you can see what successful people do and implement some of those behaviors in your life to make drastic improvements and gains in your life. So take some of these 10 rules and implement them in your life and see how much you improve, how you become great. In the comments below, I want to hear what you've implemented. Hopefully, you'll be great or greater than Howard Schultz. Here's to your success.